So I just got back from Anime Expo Chibi, and to be positive about the event, it's going to be very hard. Hey, what is up, guys? Sam from Weebs Guild here. So we just got back from going to Anime Expo Chibi. It's their inaugural event. You've obviously heard of Anime Expo, which is the one that's held in Los Angeles. This one is held in Ontario, which is about an hour drive for me. So that was not quite fun. But I want to take you through the events of Anime Expo Chibi, what it was like being there, what's different from Anime Expo, what was good, what was bad, and let's kick it off with day 0. So for those of you guys who've not been to a convention before, day 0 is basically the day before the convention actually starts. You go there, you usually pick up your badge. Sometimes at some conventions, they will have like a early access to the exhibit hall. Like if you bought all 4 days, you could go in a day early. That was not the case for Anime Expo Chibi. So when we first rolled up, we got there probably right at maybe 2:45, which the night market that they were advertising as being a thing for day 0, as well as Saturday, doesn't start until 3 o'clock. So we rolled up. There's plenty of parking everywhere. We went right in. We paid $15, which is no in and out access for parking, which is pretty standard. If you go to a convention, you're going to get screwed on parking. That's just how it's going to go. So we had no problem parking day 0, which keep a note of that because it's going to come into play later. We walked right up. There was a line, okay? You roll up, you see a huge white tent and a line that wraps around it. It's like, oh, okay, I guess there's a lot of people here for badge pickup. Like, who knew? Turns out that line was for night market and not for the badge pickup. The badge pickup had 0 line. You just walk right up. They use the app called ShowClicks. You scan it. That was the same thing at Anime Expo. They give you a wristband. So I'm actually still wearing the wristband right here. So this is what they use for identification at the event. And this is basically if you went to Anime Expo or anything else, normally you get a lanyard. This is a wristband. You place your wristband against the little machines. It lights up green. You walk into the event. So by the time we picked up the badge, we got our ShowClick stuff all set up. We were able to walk right into the night market, and that was immediately when the red flag happened for Anime Expo. Anime Expo Chibi had been advertising this night market, like, hey, night market, it's going to be a great Anime Expo night market. Let's check it out. And for those of you guys who have not been to a night market before, which I'm starting to think is a lot of the Anime Expo staff, normally a night market is basically like a convention hall where they have a whole bunch of vendors, a whole bunch of art prints. It's like the artist alley merged with a convention hall, just in an opening. You know, it's not inside. That's really the only difference here from the exhibit hall. Is it's outside, and that's a night market, and it takes place at fucking night. So we rolled up, we immediately go there. They have a giant stage on the right-hand side. It is pretty empty. There's nobody there. Then we go to walk around like, all right, let's check out the night market. So they have the booth for the glow sticks that you see like in all the Japanese concerts where everybody's waving them all over the place. And then you turn to the left, there's an Anime Expo merch booth, and there is 6 food trucks and a blow-up photo booth. And that is it. That is the only thing that is at this night market. I cannot tell you how scarce. I thought for sure, I saw people walking into the exhibit hall, like the big convention center, and I was like, oh, maybe we can enter early. Maybe that's like the night market portion of it. That's like they're going to let us shop a little bit. Walk in there, they have it all roped off except for the bathrooms. So needless to say, you know, we walked around for probably a solid 30 minutes. The food truck prices were astronomical. As always, if you've never been to an event before, food truck prices are going to just destroy you. But there's nothing else to stick around for. They have people playing on the concert, which they did have these guys called sax, which are 4 guys playing saxophones. They were very good, okay? Credit to them. But even then, if you guys have not been here before, I have very baby ears. Concerts hurt my ears. I listen to everything on the computer at 12 volume, okay? It's too loud for me. It's way too loud. Like someone's got to turn it down. Why does all concerts be so loud? All right. I don't mean to sound like I'm a 80-year-old geriatric patient, but it's too loud. So we stuck around. We watched it. I bought a $5 bottle of soda. My girlfriend got a $10 little juice cup. And that was our experience at the night market. We did hit the photo booth. That was very nice, but it was like inflatable. They had a whole bunch of props there. You walk into this photo booth. They're like, okay, we're going to hit the button. It's going to count down from 10, and then it's just going to start taking photos, and you'll get 3. And it's like, all right, cool. So we did that. You know, that was fun. And then I walked around legitimately and was like, there's got to be something else here. There has to be something else here. There was not. There was no other options at this night market. So, I mean, we left. We drove an hour out to Ontario, hit the night market, and we've been to night markets before. We live in Orange County. There's all kinds of night markets here. Like the Orange County Fairgrounds has a night market almost every fucking weekend. We've been to so many of them before, and this was like horrible. This was really, really bad. So I was not looking forward exactly to see what day 1 had to hold. So we roll up, we get up real early for day 1, and my fucking car breaks down. So that's no points against Anime Expo Chibi, but just to hit you there, I did not make it to the opening at all because my car broke down. I had to go back to the dealership, get the car there, get it towed there, and then I had to go. So once we finally arrived at Anime Expo Chibi, It was probably, I don't know, 2 in the afternoon at this point. And at that point, it hits you. There is not enough parking for how many people are coming to Anime Expo Chibi. They announced probably like a couple days before the event actually began that they sold out. Anime Expo Chibi has been sold out for the event. So we roll up and the parking situation is so bad. We drove around for probably an hour. They have designated lots for where the convention center parking is supposed to be. And if you guys have not been to the Ontario Convention Center, it's a tiny convention center. It really is. Look at it on Google Maps, and if you compare that to what the Los Angeles Convention Center is, it's not even close. Not even close. And for the Anime Expo proper, they take over some of the hotel buildings also. So it's like this one is just the convention center, and then they have a giant tent for the artist alley. That's how they did it. And so you're driving around looking for parking, and lot closed, lot closed, lot closed. They even have a giant dirt lot closed, lot closed. And then everywhere. So you just see people parking at grocery stores, at restaurants, at office buildings. We even went so far as we saw people parking in the neighborhood. So like it's all next to the airport. So people went so far down one street, they went into people's neighborhood and started parking on the street and walking all the way back to the convention center. It was so bad. We ended up circling around hoping one of these places can open up because we could see people leaving. People kept leaving and they're taking their cars out, but they would not open the lots. Finally, they opened it. It took us an hour. And they finally opened the thing and we slid right in. And we got in right as they put the cone down behind us to close it up again. The parking situation was horrible. I don't know if they signed some sort of a lease with Ontario for a multi-year deal, but hope if they throw another Anime Expo Chibi, it is not going to be in Ontario. The convention center was not big enough. It could hold, I mean, I didn't find so much of a problem with the amount of people that were there, but I don't think they predicted the amount of cars people were going to bring. I don't know if they put out some sort of PSA like, hey, everybody carpool, but nobody listened to that. Everybody showed up in their own car. There was not enough space. And one road that takes you right past the convention center, it just puts you back on the freeway. It was such a bad setup. So once we finally get to the convention center portion of it, we walk from our car, we get over there. Everything was fine. We scan the thing, walk through the metal detectors. We are immediately greeted by the big convention center. The night market, air quotes, is still set up exactly the same as it was when we showed up the day before. So they have the concert hall. They have all the food vendors, which is just the food trucks. They have the Anime Expo official merch. They got the blow-ups. They got the fucking photo booth. They got all that. So on your left, you're greeted to the artist alley and right in front of you, the convention center. So we had right in the convention center. Let's see what this thing is all about. Let's pop it open. So let's talk the meat and potatoes, the exhibit hall. So the exhibit hall, normally for Anime Expo, okay, I want to compare and contrast. I know this is supposed to be a cheaper event. We paid $40 per ticket for our 2-day experience. It is not worth the money to go to Anime Expo Chibi, and I will tell you why now. So when you go to Anime Expo, obviously the tickets are much more expensive. You could get a day though for like $40, and if you get a day at Anime Expo versus 2 days at Anime Expo Chibi, you'll be so much better off. And if you're going to Anime Expo Ontario, there's no reason you can't make it to Anime Expo proper. There's just not a reason that you can do that. So the exhibit hall is set up same way you expect it to be set up for any convention. It's just a giant hall, and there's just booths, and you just go up, you go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, all the way down. But here's the kicker. All of the big players that you would see at Anime Expo, or let's say Anime NYC Comic-Con, okay, they were absent. They were not here. The biggest vendor that I could recognize was Good Smile Company. And they had the same booth setup that they did at Anime Expo, which was great. But everyone else, there was no Shonen Jump present. There was no Viz Media. There was no Bandai. There was like none of this stuff. They were all absent. So what happened is the exhibit hall almost was a second artist alley, where obviously artist alley is focused more on like your art prints and like all that stuff. This was more focused on t-shirts, jackets, what did make its return here, which if you watch my Anime Expo video was not present at Anime Expo, mystery boxes. Those made a return back to form in a big way in Anime Expo Chibi. Previously, we would buy all the mystery boxes that were available. They were all over here. All over. And I don't know if maybe they got priced out of Anime Expo and that's why they made their return here. But they were everywhere the eye can see. There was nothing to do in the exhibit hall. So when you go to Anime Expo, there is like video games to be played. There is all kinds of free merch being handed out. There's stuff to check out, like stuff that's coming out later. Like, come check it out. There's stuff to watch, you know. There was not much of that, if at all, here. Hypeland brought a couple of cars that you could take pictures next to. There was a couple of smaller booths that were pretty cool. I know I found one that had Bleach exhibition art from Japan that they were selling. That was the coolest one that I saw. They had the classic stuff, which is I don't know if you guys have been to any night market or convention, but they seem to be at all of them. The light up artwork. I just call it the out of my tax bracket art. That those people were there. And they just kind of had your usual suspects of not, I don't mean this in a mean way, but not name brand stuff that was there. You know, like your third party people, you know, people selling the shirts. And I got to say, if you have, this is going to be really mean. Okay. So if it's going to hurt your ears, I mean, just skip 15 seconds ahead. If you have any art skill at all, and you have any creativity, okay, now those are two hard things. Start making t-shirts. The bar for the shirts that I saw people buying at Anime Expo Chibi were so low. The shirts were so low quality. They were such like the crappiest memes. People were going apeshit for them. Absolutely apeshit. Make shirts, iron press them yourself, and bring them to convention. Let's move on to the artist alley now, okay? That was quality. There is never anything wrong with people that are working in the artist alley. They always have very quality stuff. It's usually reasonably priced. There were a couple things that's like $100 for a small, you know, artwork, but a lot of it is very well priced. They put a lot of work into it. I respect all of you guys in the artist alley. This year, and sort of the normal Anime Expo where you guys get shoved into the bottom floor of a parking structure, they gave you a tent. Now, the tent was not bad. It smelled of tent, okay? And what I mean by that, if you've ever been in like a bounce house, that smell was in the artist alley, okay? Which is better than the smell of BO. So we'll take that. That's a W any day. They also must have learned from their mistakes, because on the walls inside of the artist alley, they had huge air conditioners. I'm talking giant, like probably the whole wall behind me blasting you. So you could walk by these things, it would feel lovely. It would feel fantastic. There was still, I feel like, a little bit of an occupancy issue with the artist alley, where that is obviously most of the people were in there. That was packed. They even had people sitting on the floor in the artist alley, just kind of like looking disappointed, okay? Because I'm going to just break it down. There is not much to do at Anime Expo Chibi. There is not. The artist alley was fantastic, but if you're going there looking for stuff to do, not buy, you are SOL, which for the kids is shit out of luck, okay? There is nothing there for you. They had the manga lounge, which was at every Anime Expo. They had a tabletop gaming room, which I don't know why they did this, or if this is maybe a choice that people like, but I like having some sort of background music on, no matter what I'm doing, whether it be like playing games with friends or anything like that. You walk into the tabletop gaming room, it is dead ass silent. It is so silent. And it's like, you know, when you have a little background noise, it lets you like, you know, laugh, have fun. Like everybody's not like every noise you make looking at you. So that was interesting. They had a maid cafe right next to the tabletop lounge as well, where apparently you had to do reservations for it. So if you showed up once again and were like, hey, let me hit the maid cafe, nah, you ain't hitting it. It's sold out. They had Club 21 also, which they decided to put a DJ above Club 21. So when you go to Club 21, that's where they sell the alcohol. You have to be 21 years older to go there. And they have a DJ playing for it. That was held like in an outside portion of the convention center. And once again, my poor baby ears, they were so loud, but like that looked fine. There wasn't that many people out there. Everybody was hanging out, doing their thing. They let DJs come out and do whatever. They did have screenings going on as well, but to my knowledge, it was nothing new. It was like Prince of Tennis and things like that. I mean, this has been a thing since I've gone to Comic-Con. I used to go to Comic-Con years and years and years ago, and they would have the same thing. They have screening rooms where you want to go down and take a break, hop into the screening room. But I don't know what you're taking a break from at Anime Expo Chibi, because you could be done in a couple of hours. You could walk the whole thing, buy whatever you want to buy, and then be done. And it's not like, oh, let me go explore the city of Ontario, because you're right next to the airport. There's nothing to do in that surrounding areas. There's a Denny's. There's an In-N-Out down the street where honestly, if you flew out for this event, I feel so bad for you. I feel so bad for you. There's no other way to say it. Now, they did have workshops that were available to do, and that was like your panel room. You know, when you go to Anime Expo, there's announcements. There's like panels going on for like, here's what's coming up from Viz. Here's the first look at Chainsaw Man. This one, it's like, yeah, come learn to do origami. Like, that's going to be really cool. Come sit here and we'll teach you how to do calligraphy, which not knocking those, good on them for having that. But once again, it doesn't really replace the other things, If this was my first Anime Expo experience, maybe I couldn't make it to Anime Expo proper, and I'm like, yo, finally, I can hit Anime Expo Chibi. This is my opportunity. I probably would never hit one again. It's just I don't have much nice things to say, and I get that it's supposed to be a smaller event. The whole pitching point was it's more intimate, but it's not. Everybody's shoved into the artist alley, unless that's what you mean by intimate, is where you're shoulder to shoulder checking people. Like, my girlfriend's 5'1", and I took her to this thing, and she's just getting fucking bodied as people are walking by. So I don't know what the point of this event was. My solution to this, which I want to touch back on again, is the whole time this is going on, there is a air quote night market going on, but they never add booths to it because there was not enough booths to spread to this outside bit. All right. Because once again, a night market is the exhibit hall, is the artist alley, just moved outside. So like, how can they pitch a night market and have nothing there? So it's worth noting that the big stage that they did have stuff going on there. Like, one time we walked out and everybody was doing a traditional Japanese dance to Bruno Mars, which was pretty funny. But it's the same, It's like they have that stage at a night market with stuff. And night markets, they charge you $10 to enter. $10. Sometimes it's free. And you just walk in and you go do your thing, right? So here is my solution to Anime Expo Chibi. Just take it outside. Make it all a night market. Like, that is the easiest solution that I can give to Anime Expo if they want to do a smaller event. Sell it as that. Because I live right next to a college. They have flea markets, okay, which is basically it's a night market, but not at night. Those people go apeshit for it. Absolutely. So if you put Anime Expo branding to an official Anime Expo night market, people would go crazy for it. And then they would know what they're going for. Charge $10 a head. Everybody's walking in there. Anime Expo night market. Because as it stands right now, there is no way it was worth renting out that convention center for Anime Expo. They did. Actually, you know what? I think it was worth. I just thought they said they sold out. So to them, they're like, yo, this is a success. Major success. Woo! And the amount of people buying the fucking merch was insane also. There's a long line for the official Anime Expo Chibi merch. I don't know, man. This event was not it. I don't know how they fix this, especially if it's going to be in Ontario again. They need to have actual panels. They need to have the big people coming back, because I don't want to see the same shirt booth 3 times. I don't want 10 booths of mystery boxes, There was even gashapon stuff in the artist alley, which I was like, all right, hey, get your grind. I don't hold anything against the artist alley stuff, but like in the exhibit hall, it's all over too. It's crazy, They need to take it and actually just make Anime Expo Chibi as a whole just a night market. Just push it as that. You can do a night market for the whole weekend, and the night market is so much easier to set up. Just rent a fucking fairground and just throw everybody outside. The cost on that would be so much lower. I guarantee you guys would sell out too. That is my solution. If you're watching this and wanted to know whether or not you should go to Anime Expo Chibi, the answer is definitely no. If you want to go there to shop, like if you got like $1,000 that is burning a hole in your pocket, then yeah, go. Because otherwise the price, you're paying $45 at minimum. They raise the price at minimum for entry. Okay? Then you're going to pay $15 minimum for parking, or you're walking a mile to the convention center. And then everything in there is astronomically priced. The food choices were horrible. The convention food was bad. It was just, that's to be expected at most cons, really. But at least in LA, you're in LA. You could go find stuff. You're stuck in Ontario. And if you leave your parking spot, you have to pay again to get in, if you can get in. So it's just an interesting spot they put themselves in, where they advertise it as a smaller thing, but then of course it's going to be compared to the bigger thing. But the bigger thing had the actual players. It had the big names to it. It had the brands. I do want to give a special note, and so I saw a lot more Bleach related things, but that was mostly old wall scrolls that like resurfaced. I'm surprised at the lack of Thousand Year Blood War stuff. I'm surprised there was not more there with how hyped that was. There was plenty of Chainsaw Man though, so take what you could get. I think that covers about everything. Anime Expo Chibi, let me know what you guys thought in the comments below if you did go to this event, because obviously I'm a little jaded. I've been to a lot of conventions before, and this was definitely one of the worst ones I've been to. I've been to better flea market, night markets, conventions. I mean, I don't know what the purpose of this is aside from just shopping, which, obviously that's a big thing when you go to any convention, but there was not enough to do. There was not enough to watch. There was not enough panels. It was a big miss for me. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. Will you go to another Anime Expo Chibi if it comes up? And if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I'll be happy to answer them for you. I've been Sam from Weebsfield. I'll see you guys next time.